Today we're going to play around with chamber rods or chamber cleaning rods or chamber cleaning kits or whatever they're marketed as. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past, right now I am using this, which is the Vortec chamber cleaning kit. It'll be the only one that isn't still in a package because it's the one I've been using for quite a while. I've had it for maybe a year, maybe more. I don't remember exactly what it came with, and I haven't really looked, but I know it came with this. It came with a little action guide. It's not a bore guide, but it goes in your action to help keep everything square. And then it came with this little wiper, which I'll show. And it came with a few patches. They have sort of a weird proprietary shaped patch, which, again, it's not necessary, but I'll get into that later. But talking to some friends and some people who, wanted help cleaning their guns, it got me thinking, why don't I just buy a bunch of chamber rods and let's see what we get for our money. So down here on the end, we're starting at about a $12 chamber rod. And then the Vortec is the most expensive in my pack here, which is $45 at this point, as of today. In this crazy world, prices fluctuate like crazy, but I'm just telling you, looking them up today, this is what we're at. So $12 to $44. So here's what $12 buys you. This is the ProShot Flexible Chamber Cleaning Tool, okay? And it is, as advertised, what I'm assuming is just some, rubberized cable, coated cable. Flexible. I really like this handle, though. It's comfortable in my hand. I feel it's a really nice size, and it's really easy to pack because it's not a big, fat diameter like this one is, and like some of the others that you're going to see here. So it's very simple. I don't know how, and I'm just going to tell you, I haven't used any of these for cleaning yet. So, we're going to see how these work compared to what I'm used to. Anyway, this one here, the flexible, my only fear is that it's not going to have the right kind of torque at the end because it's flexible. It could be a little weird for trying to push and pull with, which I do sometimes for cleaning my carbon ring. I do use my chamber rod for cleaning the carbon ring out, as do most people. So that is sort of a necessity. One thing about all of these rods to keep in mind, they are specifically chamber rods because they are fixed handles. They do not rotate. So, I haven't opened up these, but none of these are supposed to be a rotating handle of any kind. So you can apply direct pressure to it. Anyway, this one's really, it's nicely made for $12. I'm impressed with the aluminum handle here. And, for $12, I like it. I just don't know how it's going to work yet. All right, then we get into $16, which is the Tetragon. Now, I wasn't going to order this one because, to be honest, it just looked really, really cheesy. But I figured if this one's $12, I needed something that was above it that wasn't a name brand. And Tetra has, a name, but not like Dewey or Vortec or something. So, anyway, let's see what the Tetra gets us. So it looks like we get like an AR-15 style brush, which coincidentally worked great for cleaning carbon rings. And then it looks like an AR-15 wool mop, so fatter and then thinner at the front here. And then just a metal handle. It is coated, and just a plastic kind of T-handle for grabbing. I'm just going to say, knowing, again, what I know about using chamber rods, I feel like this is going to inhibit my use because it's going to allow push and pull, but it'll allow a little bit of turning, but I can't rotate it, which is something I like to do with my brushes. I just have a feeling it's going to get in the way. So we'll see. Whoop. But still not bad for $16. It's exactly what I expected, but it's well made, and you do get, let's face it, to buy an AR-15 chamber brush and a wool mop, that's, even at cheap, $5 or $6 total. So, really you're paying maybe $10 for the chamber rod. Okay, now we get up to $17, okay, and we are into the first of the two Dewey kits. Now, technically, both Deweys that I'm going to show you are the same exact rod, but they're packaged differently with different tools, and there's a reason. So this is the $17 model, and it is strictly what they kind of classify as the AR-15 combo, which I don't really care. I'm after the functionality of the handle as long as it works for me. And it is going to come just like the Tetra did. I guess that didn't open it. Let me get some scissors here. It comes with an AR-15 brush, so I'll just leave that in there. What I would expect from Dewey, very quality brass rod. So it's not coated in any way, but theory being the brass is not going to damage anything. I know this is a whole nother debate between like brass and stainless and coated rods. Some people feel that coated rods pick up debris and can scratch. Some people think the brass picks up debris. I think as long as you keep your stuff clean, any of that's kind of a minimal point. But this is brass. It's nice. You don't have to worry about a coating scraping off. And that is obviously one of the things you have to deal with when you have a coated rod of any kind, is potentially scratching that coating off. So I do like it. All of these are going to be an 8/32 brush tip. So, they're going to take any standard attachment that's going on your cleaning rod. And it's not a lot of frills, but it does have a larger handle. So from a grip standpoint, it's going to be a little bit better. But you do have, some diameter to deal with. So if you're dealing with a tighter spot, I'm going to sneeze. If you're dealing with maybe a high comb on your stock and you can't get into your action really easily, something like this could get in the way. We'll see how it fits on my particular gun, but I do have a very low comb because of how I shoot. But I like the rod. It's stiff. It doesn't turn, obviously, and it looks to be a good length. All right, this is the entire kit, and this one is the I forget what they call this one. This is the bolt action lug recessing kit. So while this one is designed more for AR-15 because it has the brush and the rod and that's it, this one is definitely modeled more for the guy who's cleaning a bolt action. It is $10 more. I think you get a lot for the $10, but I'll just tell you right now, looking at it, I already know this is going to be at the bottom of my list personally, and I'll explain why in a minute. This particular kit comes with a bunch of their little felt pads. And there's an Allen wrench in there. Same chamber rod. And then we have a wool mop, which is great. I like the wool mops. We have a couple of these pads here. And then we have a brush. So there's a double-ended nylon brush, which, I'm sure we all have a handful of these just laying around. They tend to come with a lot of different things. And then we have the part that holds the wool mop to clean the lug recesses. Great concept, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I know that this is designed to open up. There's an Allen wrench. We'll go through in more detail on this one, but when I looked at it in the package, I was like, oh man, because it has a little Allen wrench here. If you're traveling or at home or wherever and you need to use this, it requires a second tool. And I don't love that, especially for cleaning gear. I don't like having to break out a toolkit in order to do some cleaning. And especially when it comes to cleaning your lugs or your action, that's something that I've had to do on the firing line. And I know other guys who have had to do it on the firing line. Maybe it's windy, it's dusty, there's sand that gets in there. I have literally broken out my cleaning, my chamber cleaning kit because I keep it with me when I'm traveling, and I've had to run a mop through there real quick and clean something out. Well, this one doesn't really give you that ability. Now, it is threaded on. I could obviously put on just a wool mop or something, but to use their actual recess kit, which I know it does a good job, I just don't love having to use the Allen head. So that's just a personal preference for me, but I have a feeling usage-wise, I'm not going to like that one as much. We had Pro Shot at the very beginning with the cheapest one. We then have Pro Shot, same price as the Dewey at $27. And this is their actual 3-piece action and chamber cleaning kit. And this one, again, is probably a little more designed towards bolt guys. It comes with, again, some of these little quasi cotton pads here. I don't know. I haven't looked inside here yet. I'm assuming with the Dewey, you could technically fold up some patches and then use that Allen wrench to tighten down some patches if you didn't want to buy their pads that come with it, or if you're in a pinch. Looking at this, there's a hole in the end, so I'm assuming we can do the same thing. So Pro Shot, they must buy their brushes from the same place because I have the exact same double-ended nylon rod. And then we have two separate kits here, or two separate rods. One is a knurled end and just an 8/32 rod, so I could put a brush or a bore mop or something. And then this one here is obviously for their lug cleaning. It's an aluminum piece with a hole in the end, the little braided cotton pieces would go through here. I'm going to guess, let me see here. If I just fold up a couple of patches here, I'm going to assume that I could probably pull through these cotton patches. I don't know, I just grab it. Yeah, so, it looks like, just like with the Dewey, you could replace it with cotton patches if you wanted to. Let me see if this it doesn't look like this unthreads for any reason. Well, I guess it does. I just had to break it free a little bit. So let's see. So this is a male end. I guess if I had... I have no idea what this would take. So it's too big for a Dewey end. I don't know if you had a female-ended brush, I guess as a backup, this is nice to be able to thread it on there. But that's what's on the end of that. So this is a nice little kit. I like that there's two different rods so that, for me, maybe I want to have a brush set up on one or a mop, and then I want to use the lugs and I don't have to swap them back and forth. But at the same time, it's two separate things I got to take with me. If this was it almost seems like if they just sent one rod, if they just made one rod and then made their tip a male ended so that I could thread it in, I would only have to take one rod with me, and then this would just be an add-on tip that I could use. That would prevent, it would cut their production cost in half, but I don't know. There's pros and cons to having two things anyway. So there's that. Now, I ordered this. Now, you're going to say, hey, it says AR-15. What are you doing with it? Well, I'm just going to tell you, on the Amazon listing, there was nothing obvious about it. They don't call it an AR-15 kit. In fact, if I pull it up real quick here, give me 1 second, and I will tell you exactly why I ordered it. One, I thought it looked really cool. And, Real Avid, I think they do make some good stuff, or at least they put good thought into items, whether they meet my needs or not. I think they think through it. So the listing description for this on Amazon said, Real Avid Chamber Boss, fast and easy cleaning tool to build up hard to reach. Oh, Star Chamber. I guess Star Chamber would have given it away for me. And I know in the pictures it shows, I'll just show you it. It does show a star tip. So I guess, I should have just assumed that it was AR-15, but I thought it would be smaller. Now this thing's pretty big. I sliced the back open just so I can take it out for you, because I do want to show you something. And I haven't looked in it yet, but I know what's in here, which is... Oops. Come on. Okay. So they do have these little star tips that you can buy, and those go on... where do they go? It's going to go on here. Oops. So you can punch through them with the screw, and then you can have the felt pads on there and stuff like that. And this is a scraper. But I thought, well, this would be great because I could put on, an existing tool that I have. It's an 8/32. So I thought that would be cool. And I really liked the idea that this came with a handle. What's in here? Okay, so it's an open handle. So I thought, well, for travel, this would be great. I could throw a couple brushes in there, bore mop, whatever it is I want to use, and this would travel great. The downside is this this doesn't look long enough, and I'm going to test it. But just looking at the difference in terms of how far into a chamber this thing goes, it's not. It's about at least 3 or 4 inches shorter than anything else. In terms of getting the maximum length out of it, and I don't know how this is going to hold up diameter-wise. Like, it's one thing to have a little handle with a long rod, but to have a big fat handle, I don't know how this is going to, again, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I saw it and I went, well, what have I done? But I ordered it, so might as well test it. And there might be guys with AR-15s that go, hey, that looks great for me. So anyway, there's that. And then we have the Vortex. Now, the Vortex has been with me a long time. It is by far the longest rod. It does reach pretty far into my chamber if I'm using it above my comb. But because it's so long, I typically can clean from behind the butt pad, which is advantageous sometimes. But it is long. So for traveling, it basically is like taking a small cleaning rod. And the handle was a longer, like in order to fit in my cleaning box if I wanted to, I actually took about 1/2 inch off the end of this and just sanded it down. So it does fit great and it's still enough to handle it. It comes with this little bore guide thing. Well, it's not a bore guide, but action guide, so that you can put this on the backside of your action near where your trigger would be. And then that allows it to, again, stay centered up so that you're not scraping or scratching the inside of your action. And it comes with this little mop, which I've been using this for a long time. I really like it because you can literally use anybody's patches on top. I usually take 2 of them, and I'll show you when I use this. But it's just it's a barbed tip, so it just snaps over, and these don't come off real easy. And you can get in there, and this rubber piece is designed. If you look here, the rubber piece is designed in the shape of your recess, your lug recesses. So it gets in there and cleans it real well. I will tell you, having looked in my chamber after using this with a bore scope, that I really like it. I think it does a really, really good job. Ow! Oops. Sorry. My gun is slipping in my vise real quick because I forgot to tighten it down. All right, there we go. All of a sudden, I saw the nose of my barrel falling, so don't want that. All right, so there are all of the bore guides that I bought. You know, it's not bad. Again, $12 to $44. I think for a necessity, I mean, really, you shouldn't be shooting competitively, much less for hunting or anything else, without properly cleaning your chamber and action out with. The ones like the Vortec and the Dewey and the Pro Shot here that have the actual ability to put in a patch, you know, will help you clean not only your lug recesses, but also inside the action itself if you need to kind of scrub the inside. And I'll show you guys here in a minute. So I'm going to kind of get this stuff cleaned up a little bit and get my camera repositioned, and let's look at how they actually work on a particular gun, which happens to be mine. So here we go. Give me just a second. Here's what we're going to do. I wanted to show you first. So I'm going to put some of the Vortec grease, because it's red, on my lugs like I would normally do. And I am going to go ahead and I'm at a weird angle here, but okay, I'm going to go ahead and get that grease on my lug recesses. And you can see that it definitely, you can see it definitely spread. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my existing rod, which uses this little wiper. And we are going to take 2 patches. I sort of offset them so it looks like double vision here. And you just pull them over the little barbed tip. And we are going to get it in there. Now you got to make sure you put it in the right, you know, sideways. Like if you try to put it this way, it won't fit, because it's designed to fit exactly the way that your lugs would fit. Okay, so we're going to push that in, and let me get behind it here. And now you can see over here, whoops, let me back up just a little bit for you guys. So you can see over here, I'm just doing this. Okay, and then I'm sort of pulling back towards me just a little bit to get the inside. And then, so I'm turning this way and just pulling, and then pushing and doing it both ways. That way I'm getting all inside the recess. All right, now let's get this out. And you can see that picked up a good amount of the red. Now I've been cleaning my gun, so discard the carbon fouling you see there, but let's just look for the red right here. And you can see quite a bit of that grease came off with this. So I'm really happy with that. And, you know, like I told you guys, with this particular kit, if you look over here, I'm doing all my work behind the butt pad. Okay, so the rod is going all the way over it, and I am all the way into the lug recesses up here, and it's long enough where I can get all the way to my carbon ring as well. So that's why I do that one. So, all right, let's do this again. I'm going to grease it up. Let's put some more on there, and I'm putting a pretty liberal amount of this because I'm trying to make sure that we get a good feel for what each one is doing to help clean. Now that's using it the way it's designed. Obviously, if I were to squirt, put on like a wall mop or something like that, or maybe a brush with a patch around it, it would clean differently and might get into the lug recesses. But since that one comes with a specific kit, that's what we're going to use. So let's try. We're going down in price here. So let's go to. We're going to go to the real Avid here. Now again, keep in mind, I do not expect, just looking at this, I honestly don't expect it to work for us, mainly because it's just so short and fat. It doesn't come with any tools that would really help me. So for the sake of just fair testing, I would assume that somebody might have a wool mop at home, and I'm going to put a patch around it. If somebody gave me this tool and asked me to try using it, this is what I would do. Probably a brush as well would be a good choice. Okay. So let's see here. If I try... Yeah, so see, it's jamming up right at the back here, and I mean, I'm turning, so it's pushed as far forward as I can go. All right, so, I mean, at least we could do something with it. None of which is picking up any of the grease, so it's not touching the lug recesses at all, so it's way too short. So again, I think it's probably a great tool for guys with an AR, clearly not meant for bolt action, and that's fine. Again, I'm not trying to beat it up for my purposes. I'm just, I ordered it because I thought it looked really neat, and it just isn't obviously made for bolt actions. And let's be honest, if we look at the package, what makes me think it is? So, but I had it, so there you go. All right, now let's move down. This is going to be the Pro Shot, the 2-rod kit that we talked about. So one's got a threaded end, and one's got this slot. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to assume that I would use up their pads pretty quickly, so I'm not even going to bother using their pads. I'm going to use just patches, which is how I would want to use this. I took 4 of them. I'm trying to mimic sort of the size of that pad, and I rolled it up, and we're going to stick it in here. Maybe 3 would have been better. All right, let's try 3 patches. All right, so we've got 3 patches. We're going to roll this up and try getting it through the hole. All right. So there we go. So I probably could have gotten 4 to work, but there's 3. All right. Now this is going to get me obviously a lot closer. You can see where I'm at here. It's a lot closer. So I'm working over my cheek, and I'm pushing and I'm pulling, trying to get all of the lug recess in there. All right, so that's about the same as what I did. All right, well, I mean, that's not bad. It's got quite a bit of grease on both ends. It's clearly getting it. The back side of the lug recess has a little bit where it's pulled from. Not bad. The metal piece at the end, it's a little big, and I did end up kind of hitting, not that it really makes a difference, but like inside, hear that? So that's the tip hitting the top side of where the lugs lock up. So it's not super tight, but I could sit there and kind of use this to scrape the side rail of my action. This is not bad at all. And the fact that I've got the threaded rod makes it nice. Now, the second criteria is not just how it cleans that for me, but I need to know how it's going to clean my carbon ring. So let's see here. All right. So for cleaning my carbon ring, I've got a 338 or 30 cal brush that I wrap a patch around. Now I know I've measured where my carbon ring is. It's right where my red and yellow stripes are here. So my goal would be to make sure that this brush can get up right in there, and it looks like it does just fine. So if I'm pushing here, you can hear it squeaking. Okay, so that's right on all of that carbon ring area, right at the front end of the throat. Okay, so that feels good. I mean, I can get, it's just a nice little knurled knob, but it does a great job. It's an aluminum rod, so I'm not worried about hitting anything. Okay, and I can, let me kind of get behind it here. If I had a brush on it to clean my carbon ring, oh yeah, I could definitely get in there and do that. So, okay. So this 100% meets my needs. It's like stupidly simple, but really effective. I think it's a good combo. I wish this was plastic or something, though, to be honest. I don't love that it's a hard metal. I think if this was a plastic piece, it might be a little better. But, you know, if wishes and butts were candies and nuts, right? So, you know, there's that kit. You know, the brush, take it or leave it if you don't have one that it comes with. I mean, they're very effective, but again, I've got a pile of them. And I would probably, like I said, end up using my own patches instead of spending the money on replacement cotton swabs. But that's certainly your call. These probably, no doubt, work a little better. So that's just the way that one goes. All right. I prefer to test it the way I know I'm going to use it. So, all right, let's get some more grease on here. And let's get this lined up. Okay. All right, so that is greased up again. So what do we got? We got the Dewey, okay? Now, here's the Dewey. We talked about this. I don't love this idea, but testing is testing. So in order for me to even use this, I need to get out the little Allen wrench, and I need to loosen this little set screw. And same thing. I'm going to take, because look, I'm just going to tell you, I'm too cheap to buy like proprietary pads, so I'm going to use the cleaning pads I have. So this is just how it would get used once that first little batch was done. It looks to me like, let's see, that's 4. All right, so there's 4, but I can't really roll that up, so let's cut that. Let's cut it and make it kind of into that same little tube shape. All right, so we're rolling up 2 patches. 2 patches are going to get stuck in here, and then I need to find my Allen wrench, and we're going to screw this down. And again, making sure, you know, that when you screw this down, that screw is below flush. Otherwise, you're going to be scraping potentially something. Okay, so we now have this. Again, it fits good. You can see I'm right in the cheek swell here. So I know this is cleaning, but I can't really feel it cleaning. And again, I know I'm probably going to get some hate for this, for not using their particular pads, but I'm not going to buy this kit if I know that I have to buy proprietary pads. Like, I want to buy whatever will work with one patch that I can take with me to matches and stuff and not have to worry about having, you know, different things for different purposes. So, all right. So it's not bad. I mean, look, it picked up plenty. Same thing. You can, you know, you could still clean kind of in the rails a little bit if you needed to. You know, the front end of this does hit the front side of your barrel where it meets up, and you know, you can kind of feel that when it's right there. So it's, you know, as opposed to my Vortec, which has that nice rubber stop on it, I can really apply pressure. This one here, you got to make sure that you've got some of that cotton patch sticking so that you can, you know, get it done there. If I thread this off, let's try. I don't think this is going to be a problem for my carbon ring. It's about as long as that last Pro Shot, so I don't see any issues whatsoever. Yeah, so I'd be just fine if I'm using this to clean. You know, really good pressure. If I get behind it and I need to, yeah, so I mean, I can get in there and clean the carbon ring, do what I need to. That's nice and scrubby. All right. Now, the next one down was just the simple version of this rod without the kit. I'll be honest, for my purposes, if I was buying this, I would just buy the $17 version. I think it's a good rod, and I think you just find some tips that work for you, brushes or jags or something that you want to use for whatever your intended purpose is. And I think you're for cleaning a bolt action. I just don't like this bugs me, and I, you know, maybe it's just me, but I just really don't like this design. I think having to unscrew this, see, I got to pull this whole screw out. All right, and then, you know, make sure I don't lose the screw somewhere. So I got to, put it back in. I got to make sure I have a wrench available. So yeah, I've got a tool kit, that I carry with me, but I don't know. This just bugs me. So I'm sure it works great if you use their pads all the time and if you have the wrench and all that stuff, but it's just not my thing. All right, let's try the Tetra. So here's the Tetra, just a very simple thing. Again, I don't have any kind of tip for this, so if I was the average person using this, I would, have to either buy, like you can buy the Vortex wiper system, so this little squeegee you can buy. And if I was buying something inexpensive, I would probably get something like that Vortex wiper, but that's just me. All right, let's get some more grease on this. So again, with just the average thing that somebody's going to have in their kit, I'm assuming it would be something similar to just a brush. This is an oversized brush. I am going to try, I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to try just packing a few extra patches around this to clean the lugs with if I was trying to. I'm kind of angling it, so I'm trying to put some pressure over on the sides. It picks up a little bit of the loose grease. I definitely couldn't apply any pressure, but it is picking up the loose. Let's see here. It is picking up the loose stuff in there. Let me try adding a couple more just for fun here. So if I shove about 4 patches on that thing, so there is enough room. I'm a little shocked. So this little T-handle is clearing. I have to kind of work with it a little bit, but it is clearing. I wasn't expecting it to. I thought for sure that was going to bump it. All right. So I can sit there and do this. I can get in there and scrub with that. It's not the optimal system with having all these loose patches, but I have to admit it did the job. Like it pulled plenty of the lube out. And I've got red grease on the patches. So, from that aspect, if you like the design, I think for the money, this isn't horrible. I think it was $13 or something, $14. I can't remember now. It was $16. So it's not bad, but I got to tell you, for the extra $1, I would buy the Dewey. I can't see spending the money. I know this came with a mop. And it came with a mop and a brush, and yes, these would definitely help a little bit, but usability wise, I think the Dewey rod just has a better feel to it with the handle. I think this is a good value if you don't have anything and you just need a simple handle and some brushes and the bore mop. So I think those work fine. I don't know, it does the job. I mean, you can't complain about that. So there's that. All right, let's get to the one that I'm most curious about. So I have to tell you, this is sort of the dark horse for me. This is the ProShot Flexible. Now this one came just with this, no brushes, no nothing else. So we're gonna load it up the same way. Let me get some fresh patches here, and I need to re-lube the chamber or the lugs. So I definitely have some cleaning to do after this, because there's going to be a whole lot of grease in there. All right. All right. So there's that. Let's get the flexible. And I'm going to try doing the same thing that I did with the Tetra. We're just going to take, some patches and kind of put them around. And I'm going to put it in here. And we're going to try. Okay. Now, it's sort of how I feared. Like, you have to sort of screw it in. You can't just push straight in very easily. Ugh. Okay. Like, I really want to like this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's nice looking with the red. All right, there we go. So we are picking up, picking up some of the grease. You can see that the red grease is showing here. If I was using this to clean the carbon ring, I have no doubt this one is long enough. Yeah, so it's definitely just a little shorter, but let's see, I should have no problem getting in there. My problem with it is if I'm cleaning the carbon ring, I want to be able to sometimes get a brush on it. And that involves me doing this with it. So I'm not feeling too bad about that. I can give it a little bit of torque. I guess it depends what your preference is. I'm not really having any issues with the flexibility other than you just have to work to keep it sort of centered up because it wants to take some of that energy and kink up the twist a little bit. And so, there is that aspect of it, but it's not the end of the world. I think this serves a really great purpose. I don't know why. I just really want to like this one. Maybe because it's flexible and you could pack it up, in different ways or not worry about it bending or anything like that. And I think that there's an inherent, coolness about that. So, that's it. I'll just show you. I have this from a long time ago, and it's just a Pro Shot pistol rod. And this is where a lot of people say, well, I've got one of these. Why can't I use it? So, technically, yeah, you can. But here's what happens. If I've got my... so here's that 338 brush that I use for cleaning out the carbon ring. And I'm just going to throw... I know it's a little dirty, but I'm just going to throw a couple patches on here as if I was going to clean my carbon ring. And I just have no way. I can go in and out with it, but I can't scrub with it because the handle's just turning. So, applying pressure this way, sure, it's great. And, maybe I could find a way to grab the handle and kind of twist it like this, but I'm just going to tell you, this isn't something I feel like doing for more than about 30 seconds. It's just not fun. So, yes, a pistol rod will technically work on cleaning a chamber, but this is not the tool that you really want. Now, if you had an old cleaning rod and it was rotating and you could somehow, seize it up, whether, super glue or 2-minute epoxy or something like that, yeah, sure, you could turn a pistol rod into a chamber cleaning rod. That's not a problem. This one happens to be free spinning. It's got a little lock pin there, and I don't know. I haven't tried taking it apart, but I don't imagine it's easy. I think that roll pin is sort of a in and not an out sort of setup, and that's what's holding this in place. So it wouldn't be easy to do anything with other than to maybe pour some super glue or pack some bedding material or do something around this stem to lock it in place. So, there are other options out there. I just prefer to buy at least something that's close to being the right tool rather than trying to modify a cleaning rod that's going to spin, because there's really nothing more frustrating than doing that. So anyway, I hope that helps. I'm going to show you here real quick one more time with... Now, I'm a big fan of this Vortec wiper. The rod doesn't matter. Like, I like the longer rod, but let me just show you what I can do with, let's say, the Dewey. So if you need a shorter rod and then you buy the Vortec wiper, let's get 2 fresh pads on here and see how much we can clean up the inside of this action. Now, I will put links to all of these down below. There are quite a few, and different things meet different people's needs. So again, this wiper is great because I can apply a ton of force towards the front of the action to really scrub that area. I can pull back a little bit, and I'm scrubbing the back side of the recess lug. It applies a ton of pressure in there because it fits so perfectly like a set of lugs would, and then by the time you put the patches on there, it fills up that space real nice. And then what I really like doing is when I'm going in originally, and you can see here, you know, this just cleans a ton of stuff out of there. What I like doing is if I'm cleaning up the area there, before, if I've got a dirty action, you know, maybe I just finished cleaning my gun, or if I need to clean it up, what I do is I start here, and then I'll just sort of like short stroke my way through the action. And again, because of how this is designed, it helps get, you know, every facet of that action in there. The little, not necessarily rail, but it's a rail. I call it a rail. And that just really helps you scrub out any of the additional garbage that's in there. So I'm a huge fan of this wiper system. I think if you buy the Bortec one for $44, you're getting a great rod. You get a couple little accessories. You get this thing. I think it's a really great kit. I don't know that there's anything here that's completely changed my mind, unless I really had trouble traveling. So if I'm traveling, let me just bring you back over here. If I'm traveling and have to worry about, you know, maybe like this can technically go with my rifle, so I don't really have a problem traveling with it. But I could definitely see where, you know, these are nice if you just want to throw them in your range bag. This is not convenient to bring to the range. Like traveling with it and having it in a hotel or my Airbnb or whatever, that's fine. But I don't love bringing this to the firing line because it is big and bulky. I really like the idea of these because it's small diameter. These things would just, you know, fit real easily into my range bag, and it's probably going to be what I'm going to end up keeping. You could definitely do an all-in-one with the Dewey system here, where you could, you know, use this at the hotel for cleaning for real, and then also have it in your range bag. It's just a bulkier handle is all. And then I think this in a pinch is really great because it'll fit in a lot more places. And so I think for me, it's going to be one of these two I'm going to keep just for traveling in my range bag. And then for serious cleaning, it's going to be the Bortec still. So, you know, that's just sort of a roundup of what you can do with chamber rods. I'm sure there's some out there that I missed. I'm sure you guys will be happy to point them out to me. And, you know, who knows, if there's enough in there that I haven't looked at, I'm happy to do another review of these. But I'm just going to tell you, these are the ones that are the majority of the market. If you have any questions, hit me up below. As always, thanks, guys. Have a good one.